It's SummerSlam week, Friday of SummerSlam weekend for 2016. We're here in Brooklyn, New York. Myles with Sami Zayn. How are you?
Sure, I'm feeling great. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Last time we saw each other was the June Bash shows in Dubai in April.
That's right. God, that feels like a lifetime ago.
It does, doesn't it?
But it was just, 4 or 5 months. Yeah, crazy.
And a lot's happened since then.
A lot has happened since then, yes.
How are you feeling after the brand split?
Well, it's been interesting. Just because of the timing of it all, because so much of my mental energy was going into this thing and physical energy going into the, rivalry with Kevin Owens, and that came to a head at Battleground, but that was right at the time of the brand split.
Yeah.
So kind of coming out of that rivalry and going into the brand split, finishing with Kevin, I kind of, I don't want to say I'm floating, but I don't really know where I'm going next.
Yeah.
So these first few weeks of the brand split's been interesting, but ultimately I think it's a great thing, and I think it's going to be a lot of opportunities,
Let's just go back to Dallas, and you were maybe the kingpin, the MVP for the weekend, because you were on NXT TakeOver.
Yeah.
I then saw you the next night at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And then I think you were competing again in the ladder match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily stole the show at the Hall of Fame, I think Michael Hayes might have done that.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. That song.
But yeah, that was a great weekend for me, and that ladder match was a pretty big deal for me, performing on literally the biggest show of all time. It was awesome.
Yep.
And I thought it was a pretty good match. That match with Shinsuke Nakamura at TakeOver, obviously, a lot of people have been... I still get tweets about it pretty much every day saying that, I've watched it for my fifth time watching it, and it's still great, which means so much to me because, that's one of the things I always wonder sometimes about what makes something good. Who's to say what's good, And I was having this conversation with Finn one time about, what makes a great match? Is it just how the fans respond to it? Is it the work in the ring? Like, who's to say what's good? And it's something he said that really struck a chord with me, where he said, one of the measures of quality and, art and timeless art is that it stands the test of time. And that you could, rewatch it again and again. Like, you could watch Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 12. It almost gets better with time.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That's the true mark of excellence. So for fans to be able to say that they've watched it several times over, months and months later, to me, really makes me feel good about the match. It almost, it has that rewatchability factor. So just, it means a lot to me for sure, the way it's been received.
If I have friends who aren't invested in the products and they don't really have an interest in WWE, that's the first match.
That's awesome. Because that used to be, for me, it was Bret Hart versus Steve Austin from WrestleMania 13.
Yeah.
That was the match I would show people.
Okay.
The emotion from that match is just so, man, it was incredible.
Yeah.
If I could just harness a tenth of that and capture it in my matches, then I'm happy.
Well, I was lucky enough to be there. That is contender for match of the year, some would say.
Thank you, yeah.
What do you think this weekend, from all the matches that are scheduled at SummerSlam, which match do you think could be a potential contender for match of the year as well?
There's a lot of possibilities. I think Seth versus Finn is the one that's standing out the most to me, but I'm personally invested in that because I've known Seth for 10 years. He's kind of whiny, but he's excellent. He's a great wrestler. He's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of history there. I'd say we're friends, and Finn is a, really good friend of mine. But also from just a professional standpoint, here's this guy new out of NXT, big deal, and all of a sudden in the main event, it's very interesting to watch. Randy versus Brock is really interesting to me. I have no idea how that's going to go. Man, there's just so many matches that could really steal the show. But I think if one match has a chance of jumping out, it would be Finn versus Seth.
Now let's talk about you. What's the next challenge for Sami Zayn? Where do you see yourself going?
Not a clue. Like I said, I put so much energy into the thing with Kevin, mentally and physically, that now it's done. I almost don't know what to do with myself.
I saw him last night in Times Square with his wife and his son. I was like, Sami must be somewhere. He must be close as well. If Kevin's there, Sami must be around the corner.
Yeah, it just somehow works that way. The universe keeps bringing us together, even though we're actively trying to get away from each other as often as possible. But I really don't know. I'm sure it'll be something. Hopefully something good. I just want to be part of something good.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
A quick message for your fans in the Middle East, finally, Sam.
أهلا وسهلا بلاد العرب. That's home. That's home for me. Even though I'm from Canada, my heart's always in the Middle East. And thank you so much for supporting, and I'm proud to represent you guys.